Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, we are going to return to one of our favorite activities, which is playing against the bots on chess.com. Now, as many of you know, there was a recent movie that was released by Nintendo called Super Mario Brothers Movie. Now, I myself have not seen this movie, but having played Super Mario Kart, playing some of the other Super Mario games as well, including Smash when I was much younger, it is something that I'm quite familiar with. Now, chess.com, I think, as a way of paying homage to the movie and to Nintendo itself, created the classic bots based off of Super Mario Brothers. We have Boshi, we have Fabigi, we have Princess Nectarine, we have, of course, Hauser, based on somebody fairly obvious, and of course we have Star Plumber with a rating of 9,999. Additionally, it says Plumber won Best Drip at the Streamer Awards. Now he's a star. No, but actually he's literally a star, and now he's invincible. Now, my assumption is this bot is based off of Levy, although there could be other ways of doing it too, because of course a star is one of the most common things that you can pick up when you're playing Mario Kart. You become invincible and you can go through anything. So let's see how good Star Plumber is. So let's challenge it. Let's start the first game with the white pieces, and off to the races we go. So I'm going to play e4 here. Play Sicilian. Let's go knight to f3. And we get d6. So normally against the bots, I'll try to be a little bit more conservative in my approach, but again, I'd rather just try to go straight for it to get a feel for how strong the bot is, since I intend to play it with both the white pieces and the black pieces. Okay, so let's trade some pawns here. We're gonna get knight f6, knight c3. I assume we'll get a knight orf here. Maybe we'll get like knight c6 or something else. We get a6. Now, of course, we could have gotten the flying dragon variation, but instead we get the knight orf. So after a6 here, I think I will play bishop to e3. Very stable opening variation. There are many lines, of course. Now, the one thing is, if this were in fact a bot that's based off of Levy, for example, I think the openings would be a little bit different. So we get e5. So I'm going to play knight to f3. Very positional approach here. Try to put a piece on d5 down the road. Bishop to e6 is considered a little bit dubious because of this knight to g5 move. So I'm going to take the bishop, play bishop to c4 here, put pressure on the pawn on e6. Probably queen d7 or queen c8 will be played. We get d5 here, so I'm going to take, and I'm actually a little bit confused. This is not how you're supposed to play the knight orf. So I'm trying to think about this. This is definitely weird. So I'm going to go bishop b3 here. It's going to take, I will take back with the a pawn. It's probably going to take back, and I assume I'm going to play bishop to g5 here and then trade the bishop for the knight. There's a lot of pressure in the center here. We get bishop to b4. So now if I take on f6, it will take back with the pawn, or will it take back with the queen? I guess it will take with the pawn. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to castle. It's going to take on c3, and now I have the choice of taking on f6 right away or taking on c3. I assume that I should take on c3 to keep pressure in the center towards both of these pawns on d5 and e5. So it castles, logical move. I think here queen to e2 makes a lot of sense. Let's go queen to e2. Probably get something like queen d6 or queen c7. Now I have to trade for the knight here on f6 before the knight can jump to e4. We get g takes f6, and now I'm going to play rook d1. Now, unfortunately, the position is actually quite dry here. After rook d3 and rook d1, it's very likely that this is going to be a draw, simply due to the lack of material and the even number of pawns on the board. We get queen c6. Now this move does give me c4, because after d4 I can play c3, and I'm kind of curious what the idea is. I'll go c3. If takes, you lose a rook on d8. If queen b6, I can trade. Rook g8 threatening mate in Uno. I will go g3 to stop it. We get rook e8. Now I can obviously take the pawn on d4 here. I could also play a move like queen to b2, but then there's pawn takes pawn attacking the queen. If I go queen d2, it's the same thing with pawn takes pawn. If I take and go queen f3, probably this game is headed towards a draw, which is not really what I want, but you know what? I don't know if I have anything better. So let's take, and let's see. If it ends in a draw, I will take my chances in the next game, and we'll see how it goes. So it takes with the rook. So after I take back, it will take, and then I go queen b2, and then rook to e4, f3 is probably just a draw, although maybe not. So rook d4, I assume I should take. I don't have to. I could also play queen to e3 here, just forcing the rook trade, and that actually makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So I think I am going to do this. If I go queen to e3, it has to trade. I take, I control the file. Really should be no danger of losing here, since I can create the kebab on the 7th rank at some point. And so I think I've actually got great chances to win here with rook d7 or rook to d6. And I'm hard pressed to see how Plumber intends to save the game. Now I can play rook to d6 here, and then queen b1, king g2, queen takes b3, queen h6 looks quite scary. Maybe it's nothing. but I have to go for it. Creating the kebab on the 6th rank, we get b5. Now of course I should trade or not. If I trade and take, there might be rook 8 to activate the rook and bring it down to a1, which would be fairly scary to allow. Now maybe here I can also go queen to h6, but then there's queen b1, queen e4 with a yo-yo, and probably it's a draw. c5 is a very committal move here. It's not necessarily the move I want to play, because then there's queen b1, queen b3. I also don't really want to take the pawn on b5 here, but you know what, in this situation I suspect that probably taking is the correct move. So I'm going to take the pawn. It's going to take back. I guess I'll take on f6. Probably it's going to go check, king g2, take on b3, and this very likely is going to end in a draw here. It's going to check, although actually wait, I thought it would take the pawn. Wait, queen e4, now I go f3, and now it's kind of misplaying this end game. It goes queen d4. Now I can obviously trade and go rook to d6, and I think actually I'm going to win. It says calm down, Neil deGrasse Tyson, try hard. Now I don't know if Levy said this or not. That being said, this endgame I think is actually very scary for black to play. I think after king g4 and rook takes d4, I should be winning if I'm not mistaken. With the 3-on-1 on the king side, the passive king, I will check, bring the rook back, and I think I should be winning here. It feels very scary, very hard to play. So I'm going to go rook b6. So I'm going to pin the rook behind the pawn, active rook here on b6, and we get h5. I take, and I'm actually just going to win. I'm going to beat Plumber. So Plumber in the end is not invincible. How bizarre. Let's go king g4. I have 2 connected. If I don't win this, well, that's my own fault. So I'm going to go check, and most likely you guys are going to get a great you're going to get a great lesson on how to win here with a rook and 2 pawns versus a rook, the 2 connected pawns here on the king side. So we get rook a5. So step 1 in terms of what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go rook b3, and then I'm going to go g4 so there's no check here. This is step 1. Let's go g4, and now eventually I'm going to play rook to b6 here, and this should be pretty simply winning. Of course I don't want to mess this up, so it's very careful. I have to be very careful here. Let's go check. King comes this way, you get cut off, so it has to stay on this side. Now h5 is definitely a move here. I'm trying to remember if h5 is winning. Pretty sure it is, because I can check, and then go h6 at the end. Let's go check, and let's go check, and if king g5, I check and play h6, so it has to go back. Next step is to start is to go king to h4 here, because now if rook to h1, I bring the king forward. We get rook to a2. Now I'm going to go king to g5, threatening rook to f7 to kick the king back. When it checks, I block. With the 2 pawns, you can never trade the rooks here. Get rook a7. I'll just go rook to b5 here, swinging the rook over. Probably I'm going to get a check here, and now it will go back. It's going to play rook to c7. Now I'll go rook to b6 here. Now after rook to b6, once again, it's a matter of the timing here. We get rook to c4. So what I'm going to play is I'm going to go rook to e6 here, followed by king to g5 and king to f4. I will block, and then I will start pushing the pawn again to g5. It's going to check. I will block, of course, or it goes there. So I will offer the trade of the rooks, and now I'm going to move the king, move the pawn forward. I just need to make sure that g5 is always working here, and I'm actually not sure it is, so I'm going to go king g5 to start with. King f5 also is completely reasonable. Now if I go king to h6, check, king to h7, this should be winning. Again, I want to make sure that I don't mess this up, so let's go here. Now we get rook to d4, and now I push the pawn, of course. If rook to d8, I go king to h7, and there should be no stalemate here. And now I'm going to push g6, and I should be winning the game. Now next step is I don't want to blunder with rook f5 to king actually rook f5, king e6, king g6 is winning, so there's no reason not to play it. So I'll make the check. It's going to go there. I'm going to go king g6, play rook f6, h6, h7, and I will just win the game. Let's go check, king e7. Now I will play h6, move the king back to h5. King is completely cut off by this rook on f6. It cuts the king. You can't bring the king close. Just drop the rook back, play g6, g7. Very basic. h7, g6, g7. Next couple moves. So I am going to beat Star Plumber, rated 999 in the first game. So what does that tell me? That tells me that while Star Plumber is a very strong bot, it is not playing at the level of a bot like Mittens. Let's go king g7. If rook e7, I offer the trade with rook f7. Let's make a queen, and I will win this game very shortly. Let's go check, and now I will just go check. It'll have to block at some point. Let's trade. Let's go here. Actually, it's a very scary pre-move, because you could do the Eric Rosen and play king a7, and it might be stalemate. In this case, it's not, and now we just get the clean win, and there we go. Very nice. So we win the first game against Star Plumber. As I said, parts of the game it played very well, other parts it played very poorly. So let's try again and let's see if it will play better this time with the white pieces. Let's go again. Game number 2. We get d4. So I'll play knight f6 here. And let's see. Plays c4. I will play e6 here. Let's see. Goes g3. So we get the Catalan system. Now again, many different setups. This opening is very prominent. In fact, it's quite interesting that it has not been played yet in the World Chess Championship match between Ding Liren and of course Jan Nepomniachtchi. So let's play d5, knight f3. I will just play one of the quieter systems with bishop b4 and bishop e7 here. Let's castle and play c6 or b6. Bishop g2 castles. It's going to castle. I'm going to go c6 here. Idea to play b6 and bishop a6 or bishop to b7. Either one is playable. I had this in a recent title Tuesday as well. And we get knight to e5. Now knight f d7 is definitely a move. I just have to be careful that after takes an e4 I don't end up in a lot of trouble. So I think what I'm going to play here is do I want to gamble with knight d7 is the question and potentially risk getting crushed? No. So let's play bishop to a6, targeting the pawn on c4, and after takes I will take back with the c pawn. I'm going to go knight f d7, not knight b d7 here, because then there's knight c6. Let's go knight f d7, knight c6. I can just trade the knights. We get knight to f3, and now I can play queen to c8 if I want to. I can also maybe go g5 here. Very bold and aggressive move. But I think what I want to do is just play simple chess. So I'm going to go bishop b7, knight to c6, and rook to c8 here. And I should be completely fine objectively. Let's go rook c8, pressure on the c file. g5 still lurking here as an idea. Now, I won the first game, so I'm actually inclined to go after it. I'm going to play g5, idea of g4 to put pressure on the pawn. We get bishop e3, and now I'm going to go f5 here, creating a bit of a stonewall setup. We get b4, which doesn't really concern me that much. Now I could play a6 here. I could go king h8. I don't actually understand what the bot wants, so I think I'm going to play king h8 with the idea of going rook g8 and simply guarding the pawn on g5. So I'll play rook to g8, guarding the pawn here. I could have played g4 too, I suppose. We get h3, logical move. Bishop d6 is a move that I really kind of want to play, so I'm going to do it. If it takes, I just take back. After bishop d2, now I think I can even go queen to f6 here, and I'm feeling really good about the position. If knight b5, I have bishop b8 here. Goes bishop e3 back, which seems kind of dubious to me. I don't really understand what the bot is aiming for after f4. Maybe it just wants to go back. Now g4, also a very aggressive move here that I kind of like. So when in doubt, let's go all in with g4. Probably it will take. I can play f4 maybe, but I think rook g4 with rook d g8. Stack the two towers, play f4 looks very scary. Let's drop the juicer back. Again, I cover the critical squares here. We get bishop h3. And now I think what I will play is either rook g6 or rook g7. Now, I don't know which square is right, but instinctively rook g7 feels right just to stop something on this diagonal after like knight e5. We get king h1. And now f4 looks like a very scary move to face. But I think what I'm going to do here is just play rook d to g8 maybe, or not. Rook d g8, there's rook g1. I actually like rook d g8, so I'm going to stack the rooks on the g file here. Now one interesting thing is maybe that I should have put the rook on g6 so I could play f4 and have rook h6. Maybe that was a very slight mistake by me. Now it plays queen d2, which is an excellent move that I of course completely overlooked, and now I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to go a6, kick this knight out before it can keep pestering my queen side. I can maybe go b5 and knight b6, and in fact I kind of like the idea, although there is bishop f4, which is a slight problem. So considering that that is an issue here, do I want to play b5 and knight b6, or do I want to go for something else? Now knight e7 is of course a reasonable move here. I think it makes a lot of sense to play knight g6, and that's why I'm going to play it. So I'm going to go knight e7 with the idea of knight to g6 here. We get bishop f4. Now I can obviously trade the bishops and play knight to g6, although there is queen d6, which is kind of scary. So I might have made a slight mistake, but nonetheless we keep moving forward. So I'm going to play knight g6. It can play bishop g5 or bishop h6. Now my idea here was simply to go f4 and sack the rook, but we'll see if that actually works. Now my first instinct says that probably it does not work, maybe, although we'll see. I'm going to go here, bishop g5. There's a repetition. Hopefully it's not going to make a draw. Oh, maybe it will. Maybe it thinks it's that much worse. Oh no. Oh no, it's going to make a draw for real? No, it plays a4. Okay, so it plays a4. It does not make the threefold repetition. It does the classic tickle tickle, and then it decides to do something else. Now after a4, I thought here maybe I can go queen f8. Now the idea is if I go bishop d6, it still has a tickle tickle, which I don't really like that much. It's kind of annoying to have to deal with it. Now I do have f4 at some point. I don't really like it. Bishop d6 looks like the correct move here, so I think I'm just going to go bishop d6. Probably going to get more tickle tickle. It's going to do the repetition twice again. Oh no, it goes b5, so I'll go a5, of course. Probably more tickle tickle. And then is it going to repeat, or is it going to do something else is the big question. So it goes knight a2. So it chooses to play on here, which I kind of like. Now I'm going to play queen to d8 here. The idea is I want to put this knight on f6 and e4 with the classic stonewall in the center here. If I can get knight f6 and knight e4, I think I have a pretty good chance. Now queen e3 is a scary move. Idea to sack the queen and go for the checkmate on f7. However, I can still play rook to e8 and I should be okay here, barring something crazy. It looks okay. I cover f7 and I can play knight to f6 maybe. It looks like the move. Let's go knight f6 here. Idea to play knight e4. Probably bishop g5. No, it goes knight c3. Interesting choice. So now with knight c3, white does not have an obvious threat or idea. So I think once again, what I need to do is somehow I need to activate my rook and my queen. Not easy to do here, by the way. Very difficult, in fact. So I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe go rook c7, queen e7, and rook c8. Try to trade a set of rooks. Maybe create the classic double stack on the c file and go from there. So let's play queen to e7. Hopefully I'm not blundering something obvious. It takes, I just take. I blundered. I just blundered the pawn. I was like, for a second I'm like, maybe it's okay, maybe it's not okay, but I blundered the pawn here. Let's go queen to f7, I guess. I mean, I did just make a clean blunder. Now I'm going to lose the game, no doubt, unless there's something magical. Although I can't even play rook c8 now because of the weakness on e6, and it's all fallen apart. So I guess what I will do to try and continue the game, keep the game going, is I'm going to play knight to d7, maybe try to play e5 somewhere in here. Maybe I could have played e5 right away, actually. Probably it was a better try than this. Like right here after queen f7, bishop h3, maybe e5 was the attempt. We get bishop h6 back to go knight g5. And I feel like this is about to fall apart, but we'll see if I can find something that makes sense. Maybe e5 here. If knight g5, maybe queen f6. Again, it feels like this should be losing probably in the next few moves for me, but I don't see an obvious win. We get f4, which is a very nasty move because I can't take either pawn. Hang the rook at the end of the board. If I play knight f4, it doesn't work. If I go e4, there's just f5, and there are problems everywhere here. So I will lose this game very shortly. I guess I'll just play e4. There's nothing else. It goes f5 and then knight e6, and this is just an epic disaster. I don't even have knight f4 after takes. There's a fork with knight f7, so it's very unfortunate here. I guess I will play knight to, I mean, every move is losing. Knight f8, knight e6 is losing. Knight e7, knight e6. With this knight jumping, just not much I can do, but I'll play knight e7 here. Maybe go for rook g8, one last little trick with rook g3. It'll probably play bishop g5 here to stop it, or knight e4, which is also probably completely winning. Let's take it. Takes on c7, but wait. Oh, but now if I go rook g3, there's just takes and bishop g7 with the knight and the bishop combo, and I lose. If I go knight d5, bishop g5 or something, probably winning as well. Just doesn't look likely that I can survive this. If I play bishop c7, knight c7, there's no really good move there. I think I'm just lost. Maybe I can play here. That's my last ditch effort. It's just going to sack the queen, take, and these two bishops are horribly misplaced. I think I'll take rook d8. I guess I take. What's going on here? So I have to sack my queen back. It takes. I take. If I take check, there's king f2. Maybe I have bishop d5 here or something. I'm trying to see. Maybe I can. Okay, if I take here, I lose. So I have to take this one with check. There's g2 or g1. It goes to g2. Now, if I take the bishop, knight takes b7, rook takes e2, maybe I actually have some chances to survive. Maybe I actually am not completely lost. So I guess after takes, check, king here takes, rook e2, king g3 with f6, f7. Probably I'm losing unless there's some miracle. Now, I could go check and play bishop d5 as well. That's probably actually the best try, I'm going to assume. Not that it isn't still losing. But let me think for one more second. So if I go check, king g1, bishop d5. f6 takes, bishop h6 is probably not great. And are there any other tricks is the big question. If I go check, king back, bishop here, bishop f4, trade takes, f6, e3, f7. check is no good. F6 king g8, not sure, but let's see. I think actually I'm gonna go for it. I think I'm gonna go check and then bishop d5 and pray for a miracle. So let's see, probably there's no miracle here, but let's go here, cut off the knight jumps. I'm hitting e2, it goes bishop f4, so I take, it's going to take back. I'm going to take the pawn here, and I assume I'm lost, but again, like if I go king g8, there's rook f5, which I did not see, and that's how white wins the game. And if I go e3 f7 and I check king f1, I lose by one small tempo, I think. Although if I go e3 f7, check king g5, check king f6, I don't think that works either. I go here, check takes, knight f7, king g7. Actually, let's try. Let's go e3 here. Let's go check. Let's go check. It's gonna go king g3, and I think I can maybe take, I can also maybe play check here. If I take the pawn, takes king g7, I think maybe I've snatched, maybe I've survived somehow. Wait, takes king g7, knight g5, e2, check king g6, and I've survived. So have I survived, or am I missing something? Let's see. It's gonna take, I go here, and now I just want to push e2 and e1. Rook covers both squares. Did I somehow swindle it? I think I swindled it. I actually swindled the bot. I'm not losing anymore. Oh wow, I'm actually going to be able to save this game. Maybe I can even win this. Wait a second. Probably I can't win this, but no, I mean, surely I can. If I go rook h1, king e3 takes, let's think about this. King e4, probably I can't win this, but maybe I go rook e6 here. Idea to play rook f6 and trade the rooks. I mean, this is actually very hard for white to play. If I go king g6, there's d5 maybe. This is not super obvious though in terms of how I'm supposed to save it, so I guess I'll go king g6. Gonna go king f3, I assume, and now if I play h5, there's king f4, but this still should not be losing for me after h5. King f4, rook e1 with rook a1, goes d5. I assume I should play rook to e5 to attack the pawn. It has to go here, and I go king f6, d6, or king f7, king f4, rook e1. I mean, I guess at the end of the day this is still going to be a draw, but okay, let's go king f7. If it goes d6, I go king e8, goes king f4. Now I could play rook to e8 here, but rook to e1 just looks correct with rook a1. Now I still need to be careful how I do this. If I go h4, this is not trivial to draw. This should be a draw, of course, with perfect play, but it's not trivial at any rate. So let's see. If I go h4, there's rook c6, h3, king g3, check king h2. This is very tricky still, very tricky. So if I play h4, it's going to go rook to c6, I play h3, king to g3, and then I play rook to e4, rook takes b6, rook a4. And if that's not a draw, so be it, but I firmly believe that this should be a draw. So it goes check, so I'm going to go king to e8, I think is correct, or not. If I go king, I mean, king to e8 has to be the right move. And I'm going to go h3, I think, here. If I go h3, it goes rook h7. Somehow this is still very tricky. This is actually not easy to save. In fact, I almost feel like somehow I've blundered this. I feel like I blundered this from a draw into maybe a loss, which is kind of wild to think about. But okay, if I go rook e7, which I think is the only good move here, basically the point is I need to get my king back here. It goes rook c6. So if I go h3 takes, king d7, king d6 takes, maybe I did misplay this. Maybe it's not, maybe I'm actually just losing. If I go check here, check here, check here, check, maybe it's still okay, but yeah, I've made a total hash out of this. And so I guess I should probably make the check, force king back to g4 and play like h3 and maybe rook h7. But somehow I have messed this up. I've definitely messed this up completely. And it's going to take a bit of a miracle, I think, to actually survive. It might take more than a miracle here. King d7 takes, h3, rook h6, rook e3, king f4. And I think actually I have misplayed this. This might just be losing. Unless there's some magic way to save this, I've actually blundered this. I've completely thrown this away. I've thrown away what was a very obvious draw, and now I think I'm close to losing. If I go rook d7, there's also d6, and suddenly I'm lost. So I've actually messed this up. So the only way that I can see this maybe being a draw is if somehow I can get the rook down, but I don't think I can. I think I actually just threw this away. I completely threw this away. This was a total draw, and then I messed it up. That is very unfortunate. If I go h3, rook takes b6, that's the only question mark I have. King to d7, rook to h6, rook here, king f4, rook to a3, king e5, and it's amazing. It's actually just lost. I think this endgame is just lost unless I'm missing something very obvious. I don't see any way to stop the pawns. There's no easy way to stop them. If I don't play h3, I don't know what else I'm doing here. So check king e5, check king here, check. I think I have to actually check. If I don't go for this check line and force king to d4, I assume that I'm just losing on the spot. King d4, rook h7 takes h3. Yeah, maybe that's how I play this. I think I do need to go for check. I think that's the only way to play it. Goes king g4, which is what I expected. Now the question is there some way with the king on the edge of the board that I can draw this game? Like maybe I can go rook d7 here. Maybe I can check and go rook d7. I think rook d7 might be the one chance I have to save the game. So I think I will play this move. Goes d6. And why did I do that? I actually just lose the game. I actually just lose the game on the spot. Why did I do that? That was insane. No, this is just game over now, I think. Unless I can play rook b7 and wait with the king on e6, maybe. Okay, let's go here. I'm gonna go king d7 and king e6. Maybe I can just wait with rook b8 and rook b7. We'll see. I'll go here. It's gonna go king f4, and I just sit and wait. I go back and forth forever. Goes king e3. Let's go back to b7. I'm just gonna have to wait on the two squares. I guess I go. Oh, that's nasty, and I think I just lose. Let's go here. d7, rook h8, and I assume I'm lost, but am I? I go here. I can still play rook h4. Goes rook b7. And if I go king e, oh, I can't go king e7 because then there's queen and rook b8 check, and I lose the game. And if I play check, let's go check. Let's see. It goes king e2, so maybe I can still somehow save this if I go king to e7. Now queen, I just take. If it takes, I have rook to a3 maybe, or rook h4. I don't know which one's better here. Rook to h4 looks like the best try objective. Rook a3 also makes sense, but rook h4, rook a3, there's rook d6, so this is the only try because here I can go king d8, and I go here. I can take the pawn. Is this a draw or am I actually lost? It goes king c3. So now if I go rook b4, there's b6, rook b1, king c4, a4, king c5, a3, rook to d3, a2. I mean, maybe that's a draw, maybe it's not a draw, but I can only move my rook here. So the question is, if I move my rook away, what does it change? If I play like rook to h4, for example, and it plays b6, rook b4, that should be a draw because my pawn gets too far down the board. So I think this is correct. On b6, I go rook to b4 back. Okay, and I saved it. Oh, wow, I did save this endgame somehow. Wild. So I do end up saving this game. I mean, this was so difficult, but I do end up saving it. Now I just wait on the fourth rank. King can't come forward, and the rest is very basic. I just keep sitting forever, no way to advance to the fourth rank, and I will score 1.5 out of 2 against Star Plumber. So what do I have to say about Star Plumber? I think it's clearly a very strong bot. At times it plays like Stockfish or Mittens or any of the top programs, but it also slips at times and it makes many mistakes as well, like it did in this game where it was completely beating me, but I was still able to swindle it and get a draw. So we just wait forever. I mean, this game obviously is going to be a draw. It's just a question of how many moves does it play before the rooks come off. It might actually just make like 30 or 40 moves, but the game will be a draw here. So I'm just going to wait with the rook on the fourth rank forever. Just waiting. Rook g4, rook h4, rook f4. I don't think it's going to make a threefold here. It's probably just going to keep waiting with the rook on c6 or something, but This endgame is a draw. We trade off into the king and pawn endgame. King and a pawn versus the king. King is in front of the pawn, so I just make sure that whenever it checks, I stay in front of the pawn. So I go here, b6, king b5, and the most important thing is when you have a king and the pawn mirrored like this, you keep the king on the same file as the pawn. You keep the king where you eye the pawn versus going to the side, and now you, of course, I mirror the king. Whichever way it goes, I spy on the king. So I just keep on spying and keep the king spying on the pawn, and if the king tries to slide by, I make sure I spy next to it. So I go here, and now king to a8 as well, and this game will be a draw. I'm gonna go there, I go back, and sooner or later we're gonna get the repetition here. Let's go here, king c5, king b8. Again, same thing. This should be a threefold very soon if it isn't already. Go king c8, b7, king b8, king b6, and this will be a draw. Or king d5, I go king b7, get king c5, king b8. I feel like we've probably made threefold repetition already, maybe not, but I go back, and then maybe it can still somehow run to a6 and play b7 from the side, but realistically it's not going to happen. And the game finally ends in a draw after 128 whopping moves. So I scored 1.5 points out of 2. At moments, Star Plumber played perfectly. There were a lot of moments where it'd make big mistakes. So it seemed like more or less perfect play and sporadically huge errors, which against a top player, probably it's just not good enough. And that's why I was able to draw this game, even though I was completely lost. But overall, a great experience. A lot of fun playing against one of the newest and strongest chess.com bots. But clearly, I can outplumb Star Plumber. So once again, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already, and we'll be back very soon with more great content here on YouTube. See you guys. Bye.